Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show that cuts through the noise and gets you well informed fast. Today, we're diving into something, well, really exciting for ambitious mid to senior professionals. Those of you ready to accelerate your careers without hitting pause on your current work. We're talking about the ISB PGPpro 2026-27 program. Now, you might hear Executive MBA and think, yeah, I know the drill. But this isn't just any weekend program. This is really a career-defining opportunity. It's specifically crafted for those aiming to leap into senior leadership or maybe deepen strategic capabilities or even totally transform your professional path. So our mission today, cut through the, let's say, complexity of the application process, give you the strategic insights you need. We're going to unpack, well, pretty much every essential element. Eligibility, deadlines, crafting that resume, the essays, all of it. We want to make sure your application isn't just, complete, but truly compelling. Think of this as your insider's guide, your strategic blueprint to understanding and really conquering this big opportunity.
And we should probably start with what might be the single biggest revelation. The one thing that changes the game for so many applicants. What's really fascinating here is that for the ISB PGPpro 2026-27 intake, standardized tests, GMAT, GRE, CAT, even the executive assessment, they're not required. Admission really hinges entirely on your professional profile, your essays, recommendations, and, well, the interview if you get shortlisted.
Hold on, no GMAT. Seriously. That is a game changer. For so many people, those tests are like the biggest hurdle, psychologically speaking. So if tests aren't the gatekeeper, who exactly is the PGPpro program really designed for? Let's demystify the eligibility.
Absolutely. The core requirements are pretty straightforward, but you need to be precise. You need a bachelor's degree, any discipline, or an equivalent like a CA or CS. And crucially, a minimum of 5 years of full-time work experience. That's as of June 30, 2026. And let's just emphasize this. It's full-time post-undergraduate experience. That distinction, really critical.
Okay, that's a clear line. But I bet there are specific nuances, right, for different backgrounds, say medical professionals or chartered accountants.
You're spot on. Yeah, there are. For medical professionals, MBBS, BDS, physiotherapy grads, that mandatory one-year internship, that's considered part of their education, not professional experience. However, if they go on to do a master's in a medical or paramedical field, that period, even though it's technically part-time study, does count as full-time professional experience in the work experience section.
Right.
It's about how ISB classifies that structured practical learning.
Right, that's a really important clarification for folks in healthcare. What about CAs with their articleship?
Okay, for CAs, that articleship period, usually 3 years, right, needs to be entered as part-time under education and full-time under professional experience. Now, here's the really critical bit where people often get tripped up. That period, despite how intense it is, does not count toward the 5-year full-time eligibility requirement for PGPpro. It's basically seen as foundational training, not qualifying professional experience for this specific program's criteria. ISB wants post-qualification work.
Got it. That clarity is super helpful, especially for those unusual career paths. So beyond these specific cases, when ISB looks at the whole pool, who are they ideally looking for? What's the profile?
Well, the program is, I'd say, exceptionally well-suited for mid-level managers who are kind of hitting that point where they're prepping for senior leadership. It's also perfect for entrepreneurs. Maybe you've launched, you're running, now you want to scale using a solid business framework. And ISB really encourages professionals from all sorts of industries, IT, manufacturing, consulting, healthcare, education, media, you name it. And say you're a functional expert, maybe in finance or HR, and you're aiming to move into a more strategic or general management role, this program is pretty much designed for exactly that switch. It's really about ambition meeting the right opportunity.
Okay, so let's say you figured out, yep, this is for me. Now the practicalities. The clock's ticking. Let's talk timelines. Mastering the application deadlines seems key. It's a multi-round thing, isn't it?
That's right. For the 2026-27 Delhi Hyderabad cohort, it's a 3-round admissions process. And it's important to know, all rounds carry equal weight in the final decision. Round 1 is November 9, 2025. That's great for early birds. Better shot at your preferred interview slot, maybe. Round 2 is February 8th, 2026, kind of a balanced timeline. And round 3, the last chance, is April 19th, 2026. Naturally, that one's going to have fewer interview slots left and, well, probably more intense competition for those spots.
So being ready earlier definitely seems like it could reduce some stress later on. What about the nitty-gritty, like the exact time? Any grace period?
Yeah, all deadlines are 11:59 p.m. ISC. Sharp. And there is a grace period, 5 days. for document corrections if there are minor issues with what you uploaded.
Yep.
But a word of caution here, if those issues aren't fixed, your application could get disqualified. So it's a safety net, not really an extension.
Right. Precision matters. Don't rely on the safety net. Okay, what about the interview process once you submit?
ISB uses what they call a batch evaluation model. So your application only gets reviewed after the round deadline passes. Then shortlisted candidates get invited for interviews. You usually get about 3 to 5 days notice for the invite. And interviews can be virtual or in person, depending on availability and what you preferred.
Okay. And recommenders. That seems like a potential anxiety point for applicants. Any crucial tips there?
Oh, absolutely. And it's a make or break detail, really. You absolutely must ensure your recommenders submit their forms before your application round deadline. ISB just won't evaluate incomplete applications, even if your part is perfect. So think of it as your first leadership test in this whole process, making sure they deliver on time.
Right, managing upwards or outwards. Speaking of evaluation, how does ISB look at applicants overall? You said it's holistic, more than just grades and titles.
Exactly. Admission to PGPpro is really comprehensive, merit-driven. They look way beyond just your transcript or job title. What they're really trying to gauge is your clarity of purpose, your leadership potential, innate potential maybe, and crucially, your readiness for a tough academic schedule while you're still working. The committee looks at everything. Education, sure, but also the quality, the depth of your work experience, your career path, achievements, awards, extracurriculars too. And the essay is super important for showing motivation and self-awareness, plus those professional recommendations validating your impact.
And then, of course, the interview for the shortlisted folks sounds like they're trying to get a full 3D picture of you.
You got it. That's exactly the goal. This multidimensional view means people from all sorts of backgrounds, big corporations, agile startups, family businesses, can genuinely show their strengths.
Okay, with that big picture, let's pivot to something potentially tricky. The resume. Because ISB doesn't just want any resume, right? They have this very specific, almost counterintuitive format. What's the thinking there?
Yeah, that's a big one. ISB mandates a specific format. You download it from their portal. Strictly one page. And here's where it gets really interesting and I think quite insightful. The mandatory exclusions. You cannot include contact details, social media links, any test scores, GMAT, grade CAT, academic marks or CGPA, or even your salary information.
Wow, no salary. That's really unusual for this kind of application. Why? What are they trying to achieve by excluding all that?
Well, it's not just a rule. It feels like a statement from ISB. By stripping away things like salary or test scores, they're kind of forcing you to define success beyond just those numbers. The insight, I think, is ISB wants to see your impact and leadership unclouded by potential biases those numbers might introduce. It's strategic, levels the playing field, helps them find genuinely accomplished people, not just high earners or test whizzes, focuses squarely on what you did and how you led.
That actually makes a lot of sense. So given those constraints one page, stripped down, how do you make that resume prop? How do you tell that leadership story?
Best practices are absolutely key here. List experience in reverse chronological order, current role first. The biggest tip: focus ruthlessly on impact-oriented achievements, not just listing duties. And wherever you possibly can, quantify it. Use metrics to show the scale, the results, the scope. That shows concrete value.
Can you give us a solid example of that kind of quantification?
Sure. Instead of just responsible for marketing campaigns, you'd say something like, led a 5-member marketing team to design and execute a digital campaign resulting in a 34% increase in lead conversions across 3 regions. See the difference. Also, definitely highlight things like team management, cross-functional projects, client-facing roles, strategic contributions. And just quick technical note for uploading: PDF, JPEG, or PNG, max 2 MB. Avoid common errors like using your own format or uploading blurry scans.
Okay, impact and quantification. Got it. Moving on from the resume, the foundational stuff. Personal information and identity, it seems routine, but I guess precision is key here too.
It absolutely is. Seems simple, right? But this section is vital. Smooth communication, verification, interview scheduling, it all relies on this being accurate. You'll need your full name exactly as it is on your passport, the name for your ISB ID card, date of birth, gender, and crucially, that primary email address. Treat it like your lifeline to ISB. Check it constantly. Plus, mobile number, address, preferred interview location, any slip up here can cause real delays later.
Right. And identity documents. What's preferred? What if you don't have a passport?
Passport is definitely preferred. If you don't have one, a masked Aadhaar card is okay as an alternative. Just make sure your passport, if you use it, is valid for at least 6 months after the program starts. And if your documents aren't in English, you need to merge the original with a certified English translation into one single file before you upload. Oh, and the photo. It needs to be clean, recent, good lighting, neutral background, no selfies, no filters. Again, max 2 MB standard image formats. These details show professionalism.
Got it. Details matter. All right, let's dig into the academic background. Education and other courses. How should applicants present their learning journey effectively?
Right, your academic history gives context. The application splits this. First, primary education. That's for your main formal degrees, bachelor's, master's, professional ones like, say, KCMA. List them reverse chronologically, most recent first. If you did a credit transfer, just list the final university that awarded the degree. And a key thing, no overlapping full-time activities. So you can't list a full-time degree and a full-time job covering the same exact period. Transcripts, mandatory. Make sure they're scanned clearly.
Okay. And what about the other courses section? Is that just for show, or is there strategic value there?
Definitely strategic value. That section's for additional learning outside your main degrees. Think certificate programs, maybe Coursera, short diplomas, executive ed courses you've taken. While they don't count for eligibility, they're a great way to show you're curious, committed to learning, adaptable, all qualities ISB really likes. And just to quickly circle back for clarity on those specific cases we mentioned, medical grads. MBBS BDS internships are not work experience. At a master's degree period, even if part-time study, can count towards work experience duration, if applicable. CAs. Articleship goes in as part-time education, full-time professional experience. But again, does not count towards that 5-year minimum eligibility.
Yeah.
It's vital applicants get these distinctions right.
Absolutely. That difference between what counts for experience versus eligibility seems super critical. Okay, now to the real heavyweight section, professional experience. You said this is heavily weighted, not just years, but the story.
It truly is. Probably the most heavily weighted part of the whole application. ISB isn't just counting years. They're looking at the quality, the progression, the actual real-world impact you've had in your roles. List your most recent job first. Make sure only one thing is marked full-time if periods overlap. For your current job, use June 30, 2026 as the default end date. And crucially, everything you claim must be verifiable. They do check.
Okay, so beyond the basic dates and titles, what specific details do they want, and what kind of story should you be trying to tell?
Right, you'll need company name, your designation exact from and to dates, employment type, full-time, part-time, team size managed, your annual compensation converted to INR excluding bonuses, also your business unit, functional role, rough company revenue, and a very short responsibility summary, max 255 characters. But the real substance is in the detailed description box, 300 words. That's where you talk about your scope, your autonomy, leadership examples, and tangible impact. What ISB is looking for here is clear career progression, growing leadership exposure, influencing across functions, maybe an entrepreneurial streak, and how your experience ties to your future goals. This is your narrative.
So much more than a job description. It's your professional evolution. Okay, beyond the 9 to 5, what about awards, achievements, extracurriculars? Is this just a laundry list?
Definitely not a laundry list. This section is your chance to show you're well-rounded, to demonstrate impact beyond just meeting job expectations. ISB values people who contribute, who show leadership and initiative outside their main role. You can list academic awards, sure, like scholarships, professional ones, Employee of the Month, maybe, industry recognition, even creative, cultural, or sports achievements. It's not just about bragging rights. It shows the breadth of your character and leadership potential.
What kinds of activities really stand out? What should people prioritize?
Think about community engagement, maybe volunteering for an NGO, leadership roles, president of a club, organizing major events, even high-stakes competitions like hackathons. The key, again, is quality over quantity. And just like the resume, use measurable outcomes if you can, like trained 80 underprivileged students in coding basics, or led a company initiative reducing waste by 15%. Make it concrete.
And I saw something about a notable achievement tag. When does that come into play?
Yes. That's specifically for things that are nationally or maybe internationally recognized, things that usually needs supporting documents. Think granted patents, national-level sports medals, being a TEDx speaker, maybe contributing significantly to public policy. Using that tag helps differentiate you and signals truly standout accomplishments to the AdCom.
Okay, this all builds towards the essays. I imagine this is where you really bring the facts to life, show your personality. How should applicants tackle these?
Exactly. The essays are where you weave everything into a compelling narrative, show your clarity, maturity, self-awareness, and how you align with ISB's values.
Hmm.
There are 2 mandatory essays, 1 optional. Each has a specific job in revealing who you are.
Let's break down mandatory essay 1. What's the prompt? What's the key focus?
Okay, essay 1 prompt is, what motivates you to do an MBA at this stage of your career? And how will PGPpro and ISB enable you to achieve your professional and personal goals? It's 400 words. What ISB wants here is a clear career inflection point. Why now? Why PGPpro specifically? How does it fit your current work-life situation and your specific goals? And critically, how will ISB's unique resources, the faculty, the network, the structure, the brand specifically help you get there? You need to show strategic thinking, real introspection, avoid generic stuff, be precise about your why and why ISB is the answer.
Sounds like it requires some serious self-reflection. What about mandatory essay 2?
All right, essay 2 asks you to contemplate situations that have shaped your personal journey. Present what these situations have taught you about your strengths and weaknesses and how they have shaped your personal and professional journey. Again, 400 words. Here, ISB wants honest self-reflection. Can you articulate your strengths and limitations authentically? Can you connect personal lessons to professional behavior? Choose maybe 1 or 2 significant moments, perhaps emotionally or ethically complex ones, not just simple wins. Focus on how you think, how you learn, how you grow from experiences. A mature, reflective tone is key. They want to see the person behind the CV.
And the optional essay, is that just extra credit or does it serve a real purpose?
Oh, it's definitely not just filler. It's 300 words. The prompt basically says, use this space for anything important you couldn't highlight elsewhere. Think really unusual achievements, a patent, a significant startup exit, or maybe explaining a genuine career gap or an unconventional choice, or highlighting major ongoing non-work stuff. Keep it factual, concise, make sure it adds real value. Don't just repeat stuff from elsewhere. Honestly, if you don't have something genuinely significant and distinct to add, it's often better to just leave it blank.
Good advice. Okay, we've covered your story, told by you. Now, who speaks for you? Recommendations, how many, and who's the ideal choice?
You need 2 professional recommendations. Submit it online. They get unique email links directly from ISB. ISB strongly prefers professional contacts who've directly supervised you and seen your work and growth up close, ideally. Your current or a past direct supervisor. If you're an entrepreneur or in a family business, maybe a key client, a vendor partner you work closely with, a board member, or a co-founder can be great choices. They can speak to your leadership in action.
And maybe just as important, who should you avoid asking? Who doesn't really add much weight?
Definitely avoid friends, family, general acquaintances. Their view just won't have the professional credibility ISB needs. Also, generally avoid professors unless you're currently working in academia. And here's a common myth. ISD alumni don't automatically get extra points just for being alumni. Only choose one if they actually fit one of those preferred professional roles, like they were your supervisor, and can genuinely speak to your work performance.
Right. Makes sense. What are the recommenders actually asked? Is it like a formal letter or more structured?
It's a structured online form, not a free form letter they upload. It includes rating scales on things like leadership, communication, teamwork, and then short answer questions about your strengths, areas for development, and why they think you're a good fit for the program. And a crucial technical point, their email ID must be a professional corporate one, not Gmail, Hotmail, etc.
Sure.
That adds credibility.
So the onus is really on the applicant to manage this whole process with their recommenders, isn't it? Briefing them, following up.
Absolutely. It's entirely your responsibility. You need to brief them early, tell them about the deadlines, what ISB is looking for, share your resume, maybe even your essays or goals so they can write specific, relevant comments. And you have to follow up gently but firmly before the deadline. A late recommendation means your application is incomplete, period. It's definitely a test of your organizational and people skills right from the start.
For sure. Okay, finally, let's talk document uploads. This feels like the final hurdle where precision is everything. A small slip could be costly.
Absolutely. A silly mistake here can delay things. Or worse, required uploads. Your resume, yes, but only in that specific ISB format we discussed. No contact info, grades, scores, salary, social links, and proof of income. For salaried folks, a recent payslip usually works. If you're self-employed, it's typically a self-declaration letter plus maybe a 12-month income summary.
Any optional documents that might actually help an application?
Yes, you can upload up to 2 additional files, but only for genuinely notable achievements like that patent certificate, a major award confirmation, or maybe legal name change documents or a disability declaration if relevant. The technical rules apply to all. fully scanned, clear, under 2 MB each, PDF, JPEG, or PNG. And remember the translation rule. If it's not in English, merge the original and a certified translation into one file. Common mistakes. People uploading resumes with forbidden data, blurry scans, ignoring file size limits. Meticulousness here really reflects on you.
Okay, attention to detail, check. Before we wrap this deep dive, let's tackle some quick FAQs, common worries applicants have. Just to hammer it home, what kind of work experience counts for that 5-year minimum?
Right, let's be crystal clear. Only full-time post-undergraduate work experience. Internships, part-time roles, work done before you finished your bachelor's degree. None of that counts towards the minimum 5 years for eligibility.
And what if someone's close to 5 years but not quite there yet?
You can only apply if you will complete 5 years of full-time work experience by June 30th, 2026. If you'll be even 1 day short by that date, you're unfortunately ineligible for the 2026 intake. The cutoff is firm.
Okay. Recommender issues. If they say they didn't get the email link, what's step 1?
First, ask them to check all their email folders, spam, junk, promotions, everything. Double check you gave ISB their correct corporate email address, not a personal one. Suggest they add PGPpro at isb.edu to their contacts or safe sender list. If none of that works, then raise a support ticket via the application portal. But do it early, don't wait till the last minute.
Right. Life happens. What about deferrals? Or what if you have to miss classes once you're actually in?
ISB does understand things come up. You can request a one-time deferral. Usually for serious medical or unavoidable professional reasons, you'll need documentation. Important.
Yeah.
You still have to pay the admission fee for the year you were admitted. And when you join, the fee structure for that later year will apply. As for missing classes, attendance is pretty much mandatory. It's a modular, intensive program. For really serious emergencies, you can apply for a leave of absence, LOA, that lets you pause and potentially rejoin within the next 2 academic years. Without an approved LOA, you can forfeit term fees.
Okay. And the flip side, what if someone gets admitted, pays, but then needs to withdraw? What's the refund situation?
It's a tiered policy based on how far out you are from the program's start date. If you withdraw 60 days or more before the start, you get a refund minus one other $1,000. If it's between 30 and 59 days before, the refund is minus $2 other $1,000. And if you withdraw less than 30 days before the program starts, unfortunately, there's no refund of the admission fee at all. Tuition fee refunds are handled separately based on terms completed. And also note, any fee waivers you might have received are canceled if you withdraw.
Wow. Okay. We have really dug deep into the ISB PGPpro 2026 application, from nailing down eligibility and understanding those crucial deadlines to crafting a compelling story in essays and getting those recommendations and documents just right. It's definitely a comprehensive process. Seems designed not just to filter, but to really identify capable, ready leaders.
It really is. And hopefully understanding all these nuances we talked about can genuinely strengthen your application and help you put your best foot forward.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? As you think about this, maybe, as you reflect on everything we've covered, maybe consider this. What specific part of your journey, professional or personal, maybe a challenge, a moment of real growth, what would you choose to highlight to really showcase your unique leadership potential and strengths to ISB? Because, knowing what ISB is looking for, that's only half of it. The real work, and maybe the real power, is in authentically and strategically showing them who you are. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.